Hi, I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. So, I just saw The Rise of Skywalker, and I want to give my first thoughts. I'll try to keep it spoiler-free at the beginning, and I'll delve a little bit into spoilers at the end. There's no footage out so far of scenes from the movie, so as B-roll, you'll probably just see the same few clips from the trailer run over and over again, so you're not just looking at my face the whole video. So once again, the beginning of this video will be spoiler-free, and I will delve a little bit into the spoilers later on. So I've made a very particular effort on this channel to try to be positive about the things I'm talking about. I don't want to say things that are too negative about something because as much as I may dislike something, there's probably someone out there who really loves it or really thinks that it was a really great piece of science fiction. That being said, this is a first thoughts video, and I want to give my first thoughts on The Rise of Skywalker. Without being too negative or too cynical, I'm not a fan. I thought the movie made some very questionable story decisions, but really the pacing was very, very wrong. The movie opens at a point that feels like it should be in the middle. It leaves a lot of gaps wide open, even at the end. A movie that's supposed to wrap up a franchise felt lackluster. I think part of this movie's flaw is that it built itself up as being this big grand finale and really didn't live up to it. I don't want to sit here and say it's garbage, it's worthless, because it's not. It is still a piece of this franchise that's very dear to me. But I walked out of it finding it very, very hard to find something positive to latch onto to talk about. I would like to say that when I walked out of The Last Jedi a few years ago, I was able to find things in that movie that, even though I disagreed with a lot of decisions made in that movie, I was able to find things that I really liked about it. Moments and aspects of it that I thought were well done, or entertaining, or fun, or were at least good decisions to put in the movie. I'm finding it very hard to do that with this one. So, if you really like Star Wars, and you really want closure, or you really want to see the end of it, go see it, but lower that expectation bar a little bit. If you really like it, that lowered bar will make it seem better, and if it's not really your thing, at least you didn't go in there with high hopes. Once again, first thoughts are not super positive about it, and who knows, maybe stewing on it and thinking about it a little bit will help, but first thoughts walking out of the theater were not very positive. That being said, I am going to talk a little bit about spoilers, so if you haven't seen it and really want to go into it completely clean, which I totally understand, click away from the video now. They didn't deliver on one of the biggest promises going into this movie, and that was explaining exactly how Palpatine is back. There is one line that states that he's a clone, but beyond that, they just say he's back and leave it up to that. That feels unfulfilling. Now, there will be room for other bits of media to explain more the process of how he got back and if it was indeed a clone or if there's something else in play, but they didn't really answer that fairly large question, which I think a lot of people had going into this. The other thing that really bothered me was, outside of the things that I mentioned in the beginning, the pacing, some of the writing choices, the massive fleet of Imperial 1 class Star Destroyers with their lasers at the bottom that can wipe planets out of existence seem to kind of come out of nowhere. They're buried in this ice planet. It's said at one point that it's the largest fleet ever assembled, and I feel like just having them rise out of the ice in the first 3 minutes of the movie seems kind of premature and quick. I would have liked there to be at least a little bit of build-up to this fleet being exposed. I feel like, at the end, there was a very concerted effort to make sure that none of the main characters had anything less than this storybook happy ending. And I get it, it's a Disney movie, they want to target a younger audience, but seeing the only sacrifice in the movie be Kylo, similar to Vader's sacrifice in some ways, but he turns to the light side about halfway through the movie, so it doesn't hold the same weight as Vader deciding at that moment that he would side with his son over his master. I'm not saying I think all of the main characters should have died or anything like that, but I would have liked to see a little bit more meaningful sacrifice at the end for what's supposed to be the big battle that ends the franchise. Not the franchise, the saga. The big battle that ends the saga. So ultimately, yes, I walked out of it being relatively disappointed. Who knows, maybe some time thinking about it will make it seem a little bit more positive, but I know with The Last Jedi I walked out of it feeling not terrible, but not great, and it kind of soured on me after a second watch. So maybe this one will be the opposite, and after seeing it again, it'll turn out to be better. But honestly, I can't give a first thoughts video and praise this movie because I think it's not very good. There was a moment in the theater that I have not seen in a theater in a very, very long time, where near the end of the movie, right before Kylo dies, him and Rey kiss, and everyone around me sighed. There were a few people from the back of the theater that got up and left. I personally don't think that's anywhere near the most off-putting part of this movie. Judging by that reaction, I don't think it's going to get very good reviews around the community, but who knows? We'll see. And like I said, these are thoughts that I have after seeing it once, so it will be interesting to see if it grows on me after a second watch, or how my views change after kind of mulling over it. But walking out of the theater, it left a very sour taste in my mouth. Once again, I make a very strong effort to try to stay positive on this channel and really not be harsh on the things that I'm talking about, but this is a first thoughts video, and these are my first thoughts. Before we sign off, before we move on, I want to throw one thing out there. I will be moving next week, so this set will hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, be a much newer, much nicer looking set, but part of that is I'm not certain the status of my internet connection over the next week or so, so if I miss my uploads next week, don't worry, I'm not quitting YouTube. There's just going to be probably a little gap while I'm getting set up over there. But once I have everything set up, this will keep going. There'll still be regular Sci-Fi Deep Dive uploads. Not next week, but the following week. Hopefully, I can get everything set up and get a Friday video out for you guys. But if I can't, I just want you guys to know I'm not quitting. I'm not disappearing on you. I'm moving, so it'll take a little bit of time to get everything set up and get everything settled in. But once again, not going anywhere. So if you enjoyed what you saw here today, or you just want more sci-fi discussions, head down below, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can get notified when I upload new videos. I promise future videos will not be this negative. Also, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. If you saw the movie, tell me what you thought. Am I way out of bounds for disliking it? Is there something that you guys really liked about it? Seriously, if you guys can find something that you really enjoyed about it, tell me about it. Try to maybe raise spirits here a little bit. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.